Welcome to Our Voice. I'm Kim Peake.
And I'm Rebecca Evans. We have a great show lined up this week, starting with Ryan King, who's the volunteer coordinator for the Boise Bike Project. And we also have Dr. Edward MacTest. He is interviewing an Iranian-American writer, Sharhnush Parsipur, who's written a book called Women Without Men.
We also had the incredible opportunity to sit down with Meron Estefanos, an Eritrean activist living in Sweden.
And finally, we'll be meeting up with Randy Langley, who's the owner of Ego Physical Therapy, and we have an unusual interview going on with him.
An unlikely interview that you won't want to miss, so stay with us. As you know, we film here at CenturyLink Arena, and right now we have the Idaho Stampede basketball team practicing in the background.
Okay, what I'm more excited about is the foreground. Executive Chef Chris Hain brought us this amazing meal.
It's amazing. It is amazing. And later in the show, we're going to visit Chris to see how he creates this magic.
But you have to wait because we're going to do that at the end of the show.
But right now, we're going to welcome Ryan King, volunteer coordinator of the Boise Bike Project, to the set, and you won't want to miss that.
Idaho is designed for outdoor living, and with that comes riding a bike, but not everyone can afford a bike or has a bike that works for them. And this is where the magic of the Boise Bike Project comes into play, where they make dreams a reality. Let's take a look. Wow, to watch kids ride away with that smile on their face, that is just incredible. So with me today is Ryan King. He's the volunteer coordinator for the Boise Bike Project. Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
And first of all, tell us a little bit about the Boise Bike Project. What is it?
So we're a nonprofit cooperative bike shop here in Boise. And we provide a whole range of different services and participate in all kinds of different programs. Basically, the goal of all of which is to make bicycling accessible to everybody. So that's access to bicycles, to repair education, to safety education, all those things. We want to make that available for everybody all over the valley.
And all different populations, so you're not just focused on kids.
Right, yeah, not just focused on kids or adults or any one particular demographic, and I think that's a really unique and cool thing about what we do as opposed to a lot of nonprofits and a lot of bike shops, is there really is something for everybody, regardless of your age or income or ability, wherever you are, we want to be a place that people can come, so.
Now recently there was a law that was changed for drivers, right, in Idaho regarding bicyclists. So tell us a little bit about that, because you guys played a little bit of a role in that.
Sure, yeah, so just recently the Idaho State Driver's License exam now has mandatory bicycle and pedestrian questions on it, which wasn't the case before. So it was kind of a battle that started when there was a pretty bad crash that happened in Boise this past fall of 2015, where a young boy was hit riding his bike home from school and nearly lost his life, and that sort of pushed the bicycle community, BBP and some of the other advocacy groups in the valley to really push to make this change, and hopefully create more safe riding conditions.
Awareness, and you guys became part of the solution, which I just love. Now, to date, how many bikes have you given away?
So as of December of 2016, we gave away over 11,000 bikes, mostly kids' bikes. We have a lot of other programs to provide bicycles for adults as well. Those aren't typically giveaway programs, but yeah, so a little over 11,000 bicycles since 2007.
Okay, and your volunteers, they get trained on certain days. So if somebody wants to be a volunteer, how can they be part of that?
Yeah, so we have, we always are happy to have help, from volunteers, happy to have folks come down and donate bicycles, bicycle-related parts, anything like that. Folks want to volunteer. We have volunteer orientations once a month on the first Tuesday. So that's the first step, to kind of learn a little bit more about what we do and how they want to get involved. Then we have volunteer nights twice a week that they can come down and help us wrench on some bikes, and then lots of other volunteer opportunities throughout the year.
And one of the things that I love is you guys keep the service going. So even once a child gets a bike or an adult gets a bike from you, they can come back, they can learn about maintenance for the bike, how to change a tire.
Yep.
I mean, these are big deal things. So how do people get in touch with you if they want to be part of the donation process or part of receiving a bike?
Sure. Yeah, they can come down to the shop any day that we're open. So we're open Wednesday through Sunday, 11 to 6 during the week and 11 to 5 on the weekend. And we can help them figure out where they need to go to get what they want to get where they need to go and make it happen.
Okay, and do you have a website?
We do, yeah. It's just boisebicycleproject.org.
Okay.
So we've got information about all our programs and services on there. They can get in touch via email or just give us a call at the shop, and we'll make it happen.
Awesome. Thanks so much for being here. And I'm bringing a bike down this weekend, so I'll see you.
Cool. Yeah, I'll be there.
Thank you. Coming up next, we have Dr. Edward Maktest, and he is interviewing Iranian-American writer Sharhnush Parsipur. Stay with us.
Hello, I'm thrilled to welcome Iranian-American writer Sharhnush Parsipur to Our Voice to talk about her experiences as a writer and as a woman growing up in a culture in Iran that isn't so receptive to a woman's voice. And she encountered many obstacles along her way, and she's here to share her writing and her women's perspective on the world and Iran and America. So, Sharhnush, welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome to Boise, your first time in Idaho, and welcome to Our Voice. So one of your more well-known books is called Women Without Men. And this is a play on Hemingway's short story collection, which is called Men Without Women. So this is an interesting play on words. I'm wondering, why did you choose that title?
Okay, Hemingway in his book, Men Without Women, he speaks about the men that they hate women, or they don't understand the woman, or they have problem with the woman.
Okay.
For example, in one of these stories, he's in Switzerland in the mountain for skiing, and there he saw a man that his wife has died in the winter.
Oh, wow.
And he can bury her in the grave, so he put the corpse in the basement.
The corpse in the basement. Wow.
And whenever he has a job to do in basement, he put the lantern in the mouth of the woman.
Oh, wow.
So she has changed her face in a very horrible form. I thought, okay, there is the woman that they don't understand the men, or they hate the men, or they can't understand the men. So the name of my book is Woman Without Men.
Oh, wow. So you take it and reverse it, right?
Yeah.
Hemingway's talking about how men don't understand women necessarily, and you're talking about how the women don't understand men?
Yes.
Yes, it's a reversal. Interesting. So in your time in Iran, you were imprisoned 4 times, very difficult during the revolution, the rise of Ayatollah Khomeini in the 70s and 80s. And reading your prison memoir, I noticed how your first imprisonment you tried to appease to the interrogators who were imprisoning you. And then by the 4th time, you get much more bold, courageous. I remember even reading that you said, you guys can throw me into a well. I will try to get out of that well, and maybe I'll learn something about geology while I'm down there. So I'm curious, that shift from being a little more timid, maybe scared, and then you become much more bold and courageous. Why that shift as you move through time in the prison?
These people were with 2 dimensions of thinking, you know what I mean? So it was very difficult to bother them. Mm-hmm. At the beginning, I tried to be very human, and I spoke with them always, and I tried to convince them that they don't do any interesting thing, but after a while I found that they don't understand me.
Okay.
So naturally I changed my skin, and I try to be more courageous and defend my ideas.
Okay. And it worked, right? You got
Yeah.
released soon after that.
Yeah.
So also in this Kissing the Sword, which is the name of your prison memoir, your mother was also thrown into prison, remarkably. And you meet her there. It wasn't intentional, but you meet your mother there. And she's sitting in a room, as I recall, surrounded by other women and chatting, almost as if they were having coffee at home or something like that. She seemed very happy and content, as you described your mother, in prison. And I'm wondering, how could she do that? How could she seem so content and happy while she's imprisoned?
She was a housewife, you know,
She was a housewife.
and the only political activity of her was to listen to the radio. And now in prison, she thought she's a heroine, you know what I mean? So she tried to give to other prisoners the confidence, and she wanted to help them, you know what I mean? So she was always happy, and she tried to be happy. And at that moment, they executed every day a lot of people,
Oh, wow.
and it was a catastrophic situation. She has a contrast with other prisoners because they were sad and she was always happy. So this was her characteristic.
Amazing. Executions going on, and she's still maintaining that happiness and maybe a little naive of everything that was going on, but
No, she wasn't naive, but she thinks she's very important,
she thinks,
and they will execute her.
wow.
So she decided to go for death and cries, "Viva Iran!"
Well, thank you very much, Sharhnush. Wonderful speaking with you. Coming up, our host Kim Peake has the chance to interview Meron Estefanos, an Eritrean journalist activist living in Sweden. So please stay tuned.
Recently, I had the incredible opportunity to interview Eritrean activist Meron Estefanos. Let's take a look. Today, we are honored to have a very special guest for you. I want to set this up for a little bit by sharing with you the story of Eritrea. Maybe you haven't heard of Eritrea. It's a country in Africa bordering the Sudan and Ethiopia. In Eritrea, this country of 6 million people, thousands flee every year as refugees seeking freedom from the repressive government. For far too many of them, though, this is where their nightmare begins, as they are taken and kidnapped and held for ransom, often tortured, raped, and abused. Today, we are honored to be joined by Meron Estefanos, who is going to share with us her efforts to tirelessly free the captives and the Eritrean refugees. She does this through her radio show based in Sweden, and also sharing through a documentary entitled The Sound of Torture. Meron, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
So we're thrilled to have you. And could you just share a little bit about your background, your life in Sweden, to give our viewers just a picture of your life?
Well, I grew up in Sweden. I'm originally from Eritrea. I'm a single mother of 2 boys. I do radio, and my phone is always ringing with different issues with refugees that have all kinds of problems trying to solve or help out.
So, and speaking of the Eritrean refugees, so how did you get involved in, learning of their plight and then getting so involved to help free them?
It was never planned, actually. It was when in 2002 until 2004 I actually moved back to Eritrea, thinking everything is good. I had no idea how it was down there. Life was good for me. I was a Swedish citizen, and so that kind of was not fair, because I was living like a queen while my childhood friends, people the same age as me, have been in the military, serving unending indefinite national service. Basically what it means is you are a property of the regime in Eritrea. When you are 17, 18, you are conscripted and you never return home.
You're referencing, 2002, 2004, so that's like 15 years ago.
Yeah.
So what changes have you seen in the situation of the country over that time as you've been involved?
So the 2 years that I was there, as I said, for me life was really good. But seeing my childhood friends, the life that they had, was just unacceptable for me, because I grew up in a democratic country like Sweden. You go back to one of the most repressive regimes in our time. I saw people that supported the government, that claimed everything was good in Eritrea, and that kind of drove me crazy. I was saying, no, actually it's a very corrupted country. People get arrested for whatever reason. You know, even saying that you're hungry can be interpreted something else. It can imply something else, and you can get arrested for that, because then the government can say, are you trying to say there is hunger in the country?
Right.
So anything can land you in prison. So I was speaking up about the things that I saw in the 2 years that I lived in Eritrea.
Okay.
And so slowly, without me realizing, I was opposing, and people started singling me out. They didn't want to be friends with me. You know, I became a traitor in their eyes, and so one thing led to another. So then slowly I became an activist.
So if someone told you 15 years ago you would be doing this, you probably would not have believed it.
No way.
Did you feel like when you started, it's like, wow, once the world knows the situation, people will do something about it?
Our government, the regime in Eritrea, it's like a mafia kind of regime that follows you even wherever you are. You are blackmailed. Even if you live in the United States, you have to pay 2% of your income tax that you have worked here in the US to the government of Eritrea.
Let's talk about Sound of Torture. You mentioned that, and so that's the whole reason you're in Boise, Idaho, right?
Yeah.
To be on tour, so to speak, with Sound of Torture right now. So let's go back to the beginning. You know, when was it filmed? You shared with me it took 3 years to complete that, which is such an investment, and just such a really honoring that this is an important issue that needs addressed, that you know, it would be such a good film made about this. So just share with me kind of the genesis of Sound of Torture and how it came together.
As I said, every Thursday I have my radio program, Voices of Eritrean Refugees, and so Eritrean refugees in Israel do listen to my program on a weekly basis, and they go to Eritrean restaurants where they hang out, and so they're always listening. So Keren Shayo, the director, she was researching to make a film about missing people. So Keren contacted me, and I think before we even discussed about a film, she already started.
So tell us what you're hoping to accomplish with Sound of Torture. You talked about how it's raising awareness. So is your goal just to get as many people in the world to see it as possible?
Actually, we have reached more people than we had expected when the film was being made. There were about 5-6 TV stations that already contributed to the making of the film. So we were happy enough that we had 6 countries, state TVs that were going to show the broadcast the film. When the film first came out, there was a petition going on, and close to 1 million people signed actually within days, condemning what was happening in the torture and the kidnapping. So it was really, so it has had a big impact, much bigger than we had anticipated actually.
It was worth being followed around for 3 years.
Yes.
That's amazing. What's your last word for again, people like me, just average people? What do you want us to know more than anything else?
To remember that all lives are equal.
Yes.
That everyone's life should matter regardless of whether if you're American or non-American. What color you have or what religion you have shouldn't matter, because we are all human beings at the end.
Blessings we have to use to bless other people.
Exactly,
Exactly.
So many of the torture survivors, for example, the Eritreans, have been resettled to the United States. Most of them have psychologically they are not feeling well, they need people. So even if you feel that it's far away, you know, you can engage with, as you said, with Eritrean refugees. I'm sure they are in Idaho as well.
Thank you so much for spending time with us. This is a true honor for our voice.
Thank you for having me.
And we hope you have a wonderful time here in Idaho.
Yeah, I'll say that.
Kim, what an incredible interview for you, especially with your cause, you know, the Idaho Justice League and human trafficking. So what's one takeaway?
I think the takeaway was just the power that one person has when they step out and they're willing to step out in courage and bravery to bring help and hope to others.
Wow, yeah. So you can see the full interview on our YouTube channel at Our Voice Idaho.
You can also see it at familyofwomenfilmfestival.org.
And coming up next, we have an unlikely and a whimsical interview that includes a physical therapist, Randy Langley. Stay with us. Well, we've had the great opportunity to meet with Eagle Physical Therapy owner, Randy Langley, who has this incredible staff member that's doing some wonderful things in the community. So welcome, Randy.
Welcome, thank you, thank you.
Okay, before we go there about your unique staff member, I want to talk to you about some of the team building you're doing with all of your staff. What are you doing lately?
You know, our latest thing, first of all, let me tell you, I just have a fabulous staff. They're willing to do any of the crazy ideas I come up with. So recently we bought everybody Fitbits, and it's kind of a craze right now, and so we set a goal for everybody on the staff individually to get 3.5 million steps in 12 months. And so that's been our challenge. And so we've set monthly prizes and quarterly checkpoints along the way to keep people motivated, and it's gone out of control. I mean, the first 2 months, the winner got 800,000 steps alone. That's 400 miles.
Well, and when I walked in, I mean, your stuff is highly competitive. So did you know you were going to create this monster?
I had no idea.
You turned the machine on.
You know, it's crazy, but everybody's getting involved, and the patients love it.
Okay, so one of your staff is named Whimsy, and I got a chance to go meet Whimsy. So let's take a look. I'm here with Randy Langley. He is the owner of Eagle Physical Therapy. We're so excited to talk to you today. And we're not talking to you about physical therapy, we're talking to you about a bus.
That's right.
A bus named?
Bus named Whimsy.
So I've been told that Whimsy wasn't really born here in America, is that right?
That's very true. Yeah, we actually found it in Phoenix, but it was originally built in England and worked out of Liverpool.
So out of Liverpool to Phoenix, and then you brought her here. Now, she's American now, right?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. She's been a naturalized citizen. She's part of our family. She's kind of the mascot of our business.
Okay, so you adopted her and she's kind of taken over.
That's right. Well, yeah, we kind of follow her now. So.
Okay, well, I want to get to know her better. Can you take me inside on a tour?
Yeah, let's go check it out. I'd love to show you.
Let's go. So we're inside Whimsy. This is amazing. So some of the signage, like there's pound signs for how much it costs for the fare. Do you charge for people?
You know, we haven't yet, but you know, at 4 miles a gallon, we might actually need to start charging a little bit. So
you've restored all of this though, and you're still in the process of restoration.
Yes.
So when Whimsy came into your life, she was just this.
It needed a lot of love in TLC.
Yeah.
I mean, it was probably 4 different colors on the outside. There was a little red, a little green, a little yellow, and a little, wasn't really rust, but it was a bare metal. But so we spent, I can't tell you how many hundreds of hours I spent just taking paint off and just getting it ready to paint. I'd never painted anything before, so my boys and I took on a job we'd never done before.
Right.
And it was great. Can't tell you how many times they drive into the driveway and say, "Oh, it's such a pretty bus," and my wife just rolls her eyes.
Yeah, so is she the other woman?
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Whimsy's the other woman. Well, the Parade of Homes needs to eat their heart out. You have like a full kitchen here. So we have a barbecue.
And a sink and a grill. I mean, if you're going to go tailgating, you got to have all the works, you know.
You do. You make it easy for everyone. And you have the fire pit.
The fire pit's awesome, yeah.
Look at this. Okay, are there marshmallows? Can sit down. This is fantastic. I just love the atmosphere that you've created. And I know Whimsy, she's got a lot of stories that she's going to share with us. But is all of this like her original stuff that you restored up here?
Well, it's not exactly. Some of the seats downstairs and some of the front upstairs are original seats.
Okay.
We wanted to try to preserve a little bit of its character. But these seats here, I found in Boise, the Roadway Inn was being sold at auction, and the Sunshine Lounge had these old brown smoke-filled seats, and I bought the whole thing for $25. And so it's kind of like the story of Whimsy. I mean, just from the outside and painting it to the inside, we just try to figure out how to do things on our own and to make it work and just have fun in the whole process.
Well, and Whimsy, she's offered you guys a journey, but you have been part of her journey, but she's more been part of your journey, you know, just a work in process, and your whole team, your whole staff has been part of that as well.
Absolutely. You know, I've got the best staff in the world, and they go along with my crazy ideas all the time. But one of the first things we did with the bus was we did our staff Christmas party on here, and we got to go around and do different things things around town and just find ways to engage our staff and have fun, and at the same time we got to help the community too.
Right, that's amazing. Well, I'm so excited to learn so much more, but I just want to thank you for all that you do in the community to kind of live a little more whimsical life and maybe not take on a bus that you need to do all this.
Everybody should have their
Everyone
own bus
should have a bus.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, but I'm just going to come borrow yours. This is fantastic. So.
I'll come over anytime. It's a party waiting to happen.
Okay, so if people want to find out more about Whimsy, where can they go?
They can go to our website, and they can go to eaglephysicaltherapy.com.
Okay.
And if they have ideas, that they want to share, get on our contact page and tell us.
That was going to be my next question. Like, if they had an invention for Whimsy, they can contact you.
Something that we can do with them that would help our community, we'd be all over that.
Okay. Wow. Thanks so much.
You
and
bet.
gosh, thank you, Whimsy. I love her. I love Whimsy. Okay, I'm sure everybody wants to know, along with me, how did Whimsy get her name?
That's a great story. First of all, I have to say though, as an adult, semi-mature male, when you tell your wife you're going to buy a double-decker bus, she kind of just rolls her eyes,
I heard you didn't really tell her.
Well, it just kind of showed up one day.
Okay, yeah, we won't go there though.
Right, but I actually named her before we even got the bus. So I read a book, one of my favorite books, it's called Love Does, and it's by a guy named Bob Goff. And it's just this inspirational book about doing whimsical things in life to encourage other people. And in the book it says, Whimsy doesn't care if you're the driver or the passenger, all that matters is that you're on your way. And I thought, well, that's a perfect name for a bus. I just loved it, so it fits.
I love that. And Whimsy's doing some great things in the community. So you have like a call to action. If people in the community have ideas for Whimsy, they can share them with you.
Yeah,
right?
That'd be great. You can go to our Facebook, or our website, eaglephysicaltherapy.com. I suppose you could go to our Facebook page and message us as well. But there's a contact us page, and you just email us, and we'll take your ideas and see what we can do.
Okay, thanks so much for being here, and we look forward to see what Whimsy's up to next. As we promised, you'll get a sneak peek at what our executive chef from Emilio's, Chris Hain, brought us. Stay tuned.
We're here in Emilio's kitchen with Chris Hain, executive chef, and he is the creator of that amazing dinner that was brought up to us on the set, and he's going to share with us how to make it. So Chris, what are you going to do here for us?
It's a kurabuta pork shank with huckleberry barbecue sauce and a savory bread pudding.
Okay, yeah, I tasted that. It was all amazing. So we're going to go ahead and put it together for you now. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, let's do it.
Our Voice is here to share stories of impact and empowerment.
To be a voice for the voiceless.
And we want you to be part of Our Voice community on Facebook at Our Voice Idaho.
You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel, Our Voice Idaho, and see full-length interviews.
We're making a positive wave already, and we want you to know your voice matters.
Here on Our Voice.